Okay guys, so now we're going to be putting on the front underguard first, and we're going to be using the screw sets, the FRP multi-roller setting stay that's going to be under the underguard and then under the bumper as well. So, and then of course the underguard as well right here. So we're going to go ahead and take it apart. It looks like I pulled some, I'm not sure, I think those are 2x10 screws. Let me unpack these as well, because I know we're going to need some 2x15s. Alright, so we're going to use the smaller, what do you call it, underguard pieces, the ones that are thinner, these ones in particular, and that one as well. So, where's my guard hand? Let's go ahead and cut those out. You see, the most important pieces from that packaging of the underguard is the small washers right here. Alright, so we're gonna go look at the fit to see how I'm gonna put the underguard. Okay, that's pretty good. We're gonna mount the underguard like this right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and mount the two that is in this the center piece first. Alright, let's go get some spacers. Okay, so when I was screwing this screw in, it looked like it was getting a little bit too tight, so I went as slow as possible. It looks like the screw head is gonna be a little bit bad, so I may need to fix that at a later time. But in order to prevent you from having trouble screwing the screws in, because the reinforced chassis have that issue too sometimes, where it's a little bit too durable or a little bit too strong. So what you need to do is you actually need to drill through the holes a little bit. So I've drilled through that one. That one's pretty good. And what you need to use is a 1.9 millimeter drill bit. So that's what I'm doing on all the other holes now as well too, so we don't run into any problems in the future as we're screwing the other screws in to the chassis. We're just loosening up the hole. We're not actually removing too much material that it's actually going to make the screw heads too loose. So I'm doing that right now just to prevent any problems in the future. Alright, now that we've drilled out all of the holes, let's go ahead and test the okay, seems a little bit better. Let me try my Phillips bit first. There you go. That's definitely a lot better than when I was screwing the other one in. So before you guys even start screwing down, don't make the same mistake that I did. Drill out the holes first before you actually start putting in the screws on this chassis. This chassis is a little bit stronger than normal as well. Where is that? 1.9, just remembered. Should probably drill out these holes as well. Alright guys, now we've mounted the underguard. After drilling the holes, the mounting was so much easier. I didn't have as much difficulty as this screw. I feared that screw may be there, stuck there, or it's still possible to remove that screw, but it's going to be quite difficult. But you know, at least we know now what troubles you may end up running into, especially for these reinforced chassis. They're going to be quite different from the regular ABS stuff. They pose a little problem. Alright, so that's it. The small washers are in there and then it's screwed in. We're gonna mount up the front rollers now. Okay guys, so the next step is going to be for the front bumper, the front roller plate. So we're gonna use a carbon plate, the stabilizer head, basically black. We're only gonna use 11 millimeter on that, and we're gonna use this as a stabilizer. This piece right here, right there, and this piece is going to be for the front rollers, for the stabilizers, the 30 millimeter screws. And we're also going to crack this open because we need the lock nuts as well. That's one of the most important things to have on a build. All right, so we're gonna mount up the 1312 on the right side over here, and the normal 13, the HG dish, on this side. So I'll go ahead and let me see. I'll mount up the HG, no, the double aluminum rollers first, because I already know how to get that done and exactly what pieces I need to use. 1.5 millimeter. You're gonna need some lock nuts as well. A lock nut, and let me see. Where did those go? Some spacers. Okay, so if it's not facing in the right direction, your stabilizer, at least, as you can see, it's not facing the right side. You can still rotate it so that it's forward and outward. Basically, that's how you wanna set it up. Okay, so double aluminum roller, lock nut, 1.5 millimeter spacer, and the MS brake spot. All right, so next one, let me see, what are we gonna do? Okay, the dish, that's right, we're gonna put the dish. All right, so I'm gonna use a spring washer underneath this piece right here, so that to prevent it from spinning on its axis while it is stabilizing. Okay, so this is how this side is built. You have the roller at the bottom, the long spacer, the longest spacer. Basically, this is 6 millimeter spring washer over here in between, and then the stabilizer itself, the 11 millimeter stabilizer, and then the lock nut. All right, let's see. Pretty sure that it just slots in. Yep, that's very good. Okay. All right, let me close this up. Oh, I almost spilled that. Okay, so we're gonna mount some lock nuts over here on the outside. And then let me see, do we have enough for more? Because I know we have 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. Okay. All right, so we're gonna use 2 lock nuts over here on the outside, and then over here, normal nuts with spring washers. So So we'll put the spring washers in first. So now we've mounted the front bumper. The front bumper is mounted with the normal nuts right here, spring washers as well, and then the lock nuts on both sides over here. All right. So next is we're gonna be using the side dampers, the AR side dampers. We're gonna need 4 of the 1.5 millimeter screws, right? I think that's it. It might be a little bit more. All right, we're gonna go check that first and see how that goes. Okay guys, so we're gonna open another set because we need 2 more of the 1.5 millimeter spacers, and that's going to be attached to the underside or the top side of the side dampers. Because what we would like to do is I like to lower my side dampers about 1.5 millimeters because that's going to help in terms of balance. So cut this open real quick. So let's get 4 2x8 millimeter screws. I think that's enough to be able to mount what we need to do. But before that, we're gonna get some, I think these are 20s. Are these 20s? Okay, some 25s. Let's get some 25 millimeter screws. Spring washer and normal nuts. All right, side dampers, the cylinder, right, and then the bowl shaped 1.5 millimeter spacers, and then the AR side dampers as well. So mount that up right there. Next, we're going to mount the rear rollers. Alright, so it's at this point that you're gonna need to use the 3 millimeter HG carbon stay, and you're gonna need more of these roller spacers. So we'll go ahead and unpack these, because I think you should be short like 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 more pieces. Okay, so if we screw these in into this hole onto these holes, you're gonna have some clearance issues over here on the chassis. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and cut around it, because what we're gonna be using is a 19 millimeter, these 19 millimeter holes right here. And if you drive your screws through that, you're actually gonna run into clearance issues with this protruding piece of plastic right here. So we're gonna go cut around it, at least trim it off, so that we don't have to worry about it. Just take your cutter and then just cut that. It looks like that's all you need to do. And do the same thing on this side. Cut, and that's it. That should provide you enough clearance for your 19 millimeter holes. Alright, so the rear, the usual pieces basically, 19 millimeter plastic ring here, 6.7 3 millimeter right here, and a 6 millimeter spacer, all on the 30 millimeter screw. So we're gonna go ahead and replicate that on the other side. I raised it up a little bit because what I want to do is I want to mount this piece on the underside of the chassis later on so that we could have something that is also an underguard at the back. Okay, now we're gonna go and mount the brakes first so that we know where we are in terms of spacing. So let's go ahead and do that first. All right, so I found some cotton swabs. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna clean the part of the brake where you're gonna be mounting the brake pad later, so that makes sure that you're not going to be slipping in terms of after you run your car, because sometimes there's quite a bit of chemicals that are left on the piece of plastic. It just ensures that the brake pad stays in there. Okay, sometimes when you mount the brake, especially the gray one, they're a little bit malleable, basically, so they expand a little bit. And so what we're going to do is we're going to cut off the excess right here. All right, so we are going to use a 2x5. Let me see. Where's my tweezers? There you go. No, maybe some 2x8s. Yeah. 2x8. 2x8 screws. Alright, so for now, I haven't locked these two spots in yet, because what I'm planning to do is mount this the Super X plate. Let me see. I think it fits, and I don't know. Oh, there's an issue. Yeah. Looks like if I mount it here, we're going to have problems with the clearance on this side. I don't think it's possible for me to mount it backwards unless I use 1.5mm spacers, maybe. Ooh, but that is stretching it a little bit. So, all right. So, I think we are going to pass on. Hold on. Yeah, there's gonna be clearance issues. It's not gonna go in very easily. All right, so we can't use an underguard on the back, at least not yet. Okay, maybe there's another way. Let me just stop real quick. Okay guys, so it looks like we're not going to be able to mount this on the back because it's going to have clearance issues on the actual gearbox cover over here. So we're not going to put that in. We're just going to go ahead and continue, and we're going to lock down these two spots over here. Let's look for some screws that are slightly longer. Okay, now we're going to mount the rear mass damper block. This part right here. I'm going to do some checking and rechecking. Yeah, I started mounting the dampers, forgot to start the camera. I think we're gonna mount it fairly long. We're gonna do a test fit to see if that is going to be in the right spot. Okay, that's pretty good. Alright, so we're gonna keep that then. Alright guys, this is basically the build of the car. At the end of the video I will have basically the photo of what the full car is gonna be, because I don't really like working on the body of the car, because it's just like the worst part of the build for me, in my opinion. Okay, some notes. Most of the stuff that I actually put up in terms of the beginning of the video where I spoke of the parts has been fairly accurate. The only time that I needed to go get some additional parts was specifically for the spacers over here. You know, additional 1.5 millimeter spacers. I ran out, so what you need to do is you need to buy 2 sets of those, and I'm also gonna put that at the beginning of the video. I'll note that in the parts section. I'll make a mental note to be able to, you know, let you guys know at the beginning of the video, so you won't have to worry about it. I wanted to go add this here, but it looks like there's some clearance issues that was going to happen. So if I had actually been able to look for another part, perhaps we could update this in a future video where I could put an underguard over here on this side somehow, because you know I try to adhere to the rules of the no cutting rule, so that's what we're gonna do. There's no underguard here yet, but I'm sure it could be figured out. There you go. Side dampers, remember 1.5 millimeters over here. I'm always gonna tell everybody to do that. And basically the biggest departure in terms of the build comparison to the MA chassis, the way that I built this one compared to that, is that I'm using super hards at the front, right? And hard tires over here in the back. And the reason why I did that is because the AR chassis has the transmission is a little bit better at the back. So what I try to do is these cars are basically like fixed axles. There's no differential, so doing the super hards, basically the super hard tires have a little bit less grip, and I chose to put them at the front. So the tires at the back will have more grip, and the extra grip at the back will actually help push the car along while the front is sliding around in the corners. So that should help cornering a little bit as well, in addition to the fact that these are narrow, you know, that should help a little bit. So that's the reasoning why I did the normal hard tires over here in the back, but I chose to go super hard at the front, and that's mostly the biggest reason why the departure to the normal setup. And that's it, guys. So this has been my build of the beginner AR chassis setup, and if you guys would like to see more videos like this, please like, subscribe, and share, and thanks for watching. Go race. Stay tuned for the FMA build in the future.